the Prime Minister of Greenland, the Prime Minister of Denmark, the Prime Minister of Norway, the Prime Minister of Finland, the Pope, the President of Mexico, the Prime Minister of Canada. I could go on. The leaders of most countries throughout the world coming out, condemning the United States or pushing back hard against the United States or defending each other against Donald Trump's threats. Donald Trump threatening to invade Greenland is what Donald Trump said on Air Force One last night, and also told The Atlantic. He said Greenland is going to be ours in the next 2 months, is what he said on Air Force One. Donald Trump threatening to invade Colombia. Donald Trump threatening to invade Mexico. And we're seeing a shift in the global order right now. Donald Trump sees things as spheres of influence. Trump calls it his Don Roe doctrine. He wants to conquer all of the Western Hemisphere, give Vladimir Putin all of Europe, give Xi Jinping of China all of Asia. And the rest of the world's like, no, we're not going to do that, you sexual abuser, you felon, you weak, pathetic bankrupter, you destroyer. We're standing up to you. We're asserting our moral and formal authority. I want to share with you how the world is responding to Donald Trump's threats to take over Greenland and to take over Mexico and to make Canada the 51st state. Let's go through some of these comments right now, shall we? First, let's start with the comment from the Prime Minister of Denmark. Let's start first with the Prime Minister of Greenland. Here's what the Prime Minister of Greenland has to say. He's named Jens Frederik Nielsen, says the following: "We have been a close and loyal friend of the United States for generations. We have stood shoulder to shoulder in difficult times. We have taken responsibility for security in North Atlantic, and not the least for North America. That is what true friends do. Precisely for that reason, the current and repeated rhetoric coming from the United States is entirely unacceptable. When the President of the United States speaks of needing Greenland and links us to Venezuela and military intervention, it is not only wrong, it is disrespectful. Our country is not an object in great power rhetoric. We are a people, a country, a democracy that must be respected, especially by close and loyal friends. We are part of NATO and we are fully aware of our country's strategic location. We also understand that our security depends on good friends and strong alliances. In that context, a respectful and loyal relationship with the United States is very important, and that's been the case for decades. But alliances are built on trust, and trust requires respect. Threats, pressure, and talk of annexation have no place between friends. That is not how one speaks to a people who have repeatedly demonstrated responsibility, stability, and loyalty. Enough is enough. No more pressure, no more insinuations, no more fantasies of annexation. We are open to dialogue, we're open to conversations, but they must take place through the proper channels and in full respect of international law, and the proper channels are not random and disrespectful posts on social media. Greenland is our home and our territory, and it will remain so." That's the statement by Jens Frederik Nielsen. Then you have Ulf Kristersson, the Prime Minister of Sweden, saying the following: "It is only Denmark and Greenland that have the right to decide on matters concerning Denmark and Greenland. Sweden fully stands up for our neighboring country." You have Jonas Gahr Støre, the Prime Minister and leader of the Norwegian Labour Party, Prime Minister of Norway, says the following: "Greenland is an integral part of the Kingdom of Denmark. Norway stands in full solidarity with the Kingdom of Denmark." Rasmus Jarlov, a conservative member of parliament in Denmark and chairman of Denmark's Defense Committee, responded to Katie Miller, Stephen Miller's wife, posting a map of Greenland saying "coming soon" with the American flag on it. Also, Donald Trump posted an image of himself saying Don Roe doctrine, with him stepping over Canada and holding a bat showing that he was going to conquer Greenland. Canada, Mexico, Central America, and South America. Jarlov says the following: "This is disgusting. They obviously think it's funny to joke about threatening to attack and annex allies' territory. It's not. It is dead serious for the people of Greenland and the rest of Denmark." The Prime Minister of Finland, Alexander Stubb, writes the following: "No one decides for Greenland and Denmark but Greenland and Denmark themselves. Our Nordic friend Denmark have our full support." Now, here is a statement from the Prime Minister of Denmark, Mette Frederiksen. She says the following: "I must say this very clearly to the United States. It makes absolutely no sense to speak of any necessity for the United States to take over Greenland. The United States has no legal basis to annex one of the three countries of the Kingdom of Denmark. The Kingdom of Denmark, and thus Greenland, is a member of NATO and is therefore covered by the alliance's collective security guarantee. We already have a defense agreement between the Kingdom of Denmark and the United States that grants the U.S. broad access to Greenland. In addition, the Kingdom has made significant investments in security in the Arctic. I therefore strongly urge the United States to cease its threats against a historically close ally and against another country and another people who have stated very clearly that they are not for sale." Mette Frederiksen, the Prime Minister of Denmark. Then you have the Prime Minister of Iceland, Kristin Frostadóttir. Here's what she says: "Greenland is a part of the Kingdom of Denmark. Nothing about Greenland without Greenland. Iceland stands in full solidarity behind our friends." Claudia Sheinbaum, responding to Donald Trump's threats to invade and take over Mexico, and also Donald Trump's threats against Greenland, Donald Trump's threats against Colombia, Donald Trump's invasion of Venezuela. Claudia Sheinbaum says the following: President of Mexico, Article 2, Paragraph 4 of the Charter of the United Nations states verbatim, "The members of the organization in their international relations shall refrain from the threat or use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any state or in any other manner inconsistent with the purpose of the United Nations." This is the position of the government of Mexico. The great teaching of Benito Juarez in these moments must also guide the United States. Among individuals as among nations, respect for the rights of others in peace. Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, says the following about Maria Corina Machado. She's the opposition leader of Venezuela, who many expected that Donald Trump would put her as the next leader of Venezuela. She believed that. She was a Donald Trump bootlicker. She spread Donald Trump's 2020 election lies. She dedicated the Nobel Peace Prize she received to Donald Trump, and she spewed Donald Trump this, Donald Trump that, because she thought by saying those things about Donald Trump would make Donald Trump like her. Well, Donald Trump said for the past 48 hours that she's a nice lady, but that she doesn't have the respect of the people of Venezuela. The Washington Post reports that Donald Trump's decision to throw her under the bus was because she accepted the Nobel Peace Prize and dedicated it to him when she should have rejected the Nobel Peace Prize and gave it to him and said, "I don't want this," and refused to accept the Nobel Peace Prize. That made her persona non grata with Donald Trump and made her the enemy. So Trump picked Maduro's stooge, Delcy Rodriguez, who's part of the Maduro regime, to run Venezuela. And Donald Trump said he wants to do that because she will give him all of the oil. And Trump's happy to have an authoritarian Marxist run Venezuela, according to his words, because she'll give him the oil, and all of the oil companies in America are all ready to go. And then you have Howard Lutnick saying, "We're ready to take their minerals. We're ready to take all of their resources. Our companies are ready in America. They're ready to go to take all of their resources." So Prime Minister Carney said the following: "I spoke with Maria Corina Machado today. I affirmed Canada's support for a peaceful Venezuelan-led transition of power, one that respects the democratic will of the Venezuelan people." By the way, Charlie Angus Midas Canada, leader of the resistance in Canada, spoke with me, and he says Canada's getting ready for war. He says, you know, the prime minister may be saying things in a very diplomatic way. And he goes, but the people in Canada, he said, how the people feel? The people recognize that what Donald Trump's language about Don Road doctrine and 51st state is, Donald Trump wants to invade Canada. It's not a joke. It's not no, Donald Trump wants to take over Canada and make it the 51st state. He wants Greenland. He wants Mexico. He wants all of the Caribbean. That's what Donald Trump wants. And so Canada knows they need to prepare. And when Canadian media, and y'all know this from the Midas Maple out there, when Canadian media tries to like poo-poo it, they're often controlled by right-wing oligarchs as well. When they try to be like, oh, well, that's not going to happen. You don't think that's going to happen? Want me to start showing you some clips of what Donald Trump said in the Air Force One? You want to go and look at what my early video this morning, the stuff that he said? Anyway, here's what Charlie Angus said to me. Here, play this clip.
But Donald Trump says he doesn't care. He wants their oil. He doesn't even believe that their opposition leader will have a place because he plans to run Venezuela himself. Good luck, Donald. Good luck with that. My sense from the Canadian people is that, you know, again, last year, we would have been really nervous. We'd have been freaked out by this. There's a sense that you can feel everywhere of a determination. We understand exactly who we're up against. We understand that this is a criminal. This man is a convicted criminal who survived for decades, siphoning off dark Russian money. He's now doing smash and grab politics, bandit politics, trying to steal other nations' resources. And it's forcing the rest of the world to decide which side they're on. And right now, our leader, Mark Carney, has been in constant communication with the Europeans. I don't think the Europeans would have probably backed us at the beginning of last year. Honest to God, I was over at NATO. They were freaked out. They wanted to appease MAGA, but MAGA has no friends. Donald Trump isn't interested in allies. So we see this attack on Venezuela as setting the stage for an attack where Donald Trump could go anywhere. The same language he's used against Venezuela, he's used against us, a democratic nation, and he sees that we have immense resources. The difference is this time, Donald, good luck trying to think that you are going to intimidate or break the Canadian people. It's not going to happen.
Now, we're also hearing from the president of Colombia, and the president of Colombia is reposting comments like this. I'm serious when I say that every Latino who supports Donald Trump is a traitor. Okay, that's what the president of Colombia said. If you're Latino and you support Donald Trump, I think you're a traitor. That's from Gustavo Petro, president of Colombia. He also posts the following. The gringos spit on the Latinos, put shackles on them, and expel them from their country like dogs. What makes you think that those people care about the freedom of the people they treat like trash? Ridiculous. They won't save you. They're coming for your territory without us in it. Does what's happening in Palestine sound familiar to you? That's what Petro posted. Petro also posted the following. Donald Trump says it directly. He said he's going after Venezuela oil. He turned his back on Maria Corina Machado, the heroine they were ecstatically crying for just a week ago. He announced a government in Venezuela for as long as he feels like it. He threatened more attacks if Delcy Rodriguez, Maduro's number 2, who's now running Venezuela, apparently doesn't give him all of the oil. And the Colombian center applauded, positioning itself to the right of the global far right. Terrifyingly nauseating is what Gustavo Petro reposts. And then there's this photo right here of what Venezuela looked like when it was being bombed by the United States. Something that wasn't said much over the past few days. For the first time in all of history, a foreign country bombed the capital of a South American country. It had never, ever been bombed like this on our continent. We're also hearing from Pope Leo. Pope Leo says Venezuela must remain independent, as he called for respect of human rights following the kidnapping, abduction of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. And then in terms of the types of things that Donald Trump has been saying over the past, 24 hours when he was on the plane. I mean, just here's what he said about Greenland. You could hear what he said about Greenland. Play this clip.
Let's talk about Greenland in 20 days.
On Venezuela, we talk so much about energy.
By the way, I will say this about Greenland. We need Greenland from a national security situation. It's so strategic. Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. And Denmark is not going to be able to do it, I can tell you.
I think it's a big one.
You know what Denmark did recently to boost up security in Greenland? They added one more dog sled. It's true. They thought that was a great move.
What would the justification be for a claim to Greenland? What would the justification?
Oh, I don't want to talk about Greenland now. I just say this. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. And the European Union needs us to have it. And they know that.
I think there's some.
And here's what he says about Mexico. Here, play this clip right here.
By the way, you have to do something with Mexico. Mexico has to get their act together because they're pouring through Mexico, and we're going to have to do something. We'd love Mexico to do it. They're capable of doing it, but unfortunately the cartels are very strong in Mexico.
And here's what he says about like Colombia and sick countries in his backyard. Here, play this clip.
Viable and successful, and where the oil is allowed to freely come out because that's good. It gets the prices down. That's good for our country. Now, we have a very sick neighbor. It's not a neighbor, but it's close to a neighbor, and that's Venezuela. It's very sick. Colombia is very sick, too, run by a sick man who likes making cocaine and selling it to the United States, and he's not going to be doing it very long, let me tell you.
What does that mean? He's not going to be doing it very long.
He's not doing it very long. He has cocaine mills and cocaine factories. He's not going to be doing it very long.
So there will be an operation by the U.S. and
it sounds good to me. Yeah. You know why? Because they kill a lot of people. Yeah.
There you have it, folks. Let me know what you think right there. Everybody, hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million subscribers. And thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks for watching. Be sure to add the MeidasTouch podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts for new updates every single day.